Hello everyone, it's Lisa again. Thank you so much for watching video number 2 in our 2020 ABODA series. So just like we did in our video for Etude number 1, we're going to ask ourselves those same 2 questions that we need to ask ourselves every time we prepare an etude or a piece for an audition. Question number 1, why are they asking this? What do they want to hear here? In Etude number 2, they're looking for, can you play in an expressive and singing-like style? Are you playing musically? Is your sound and your tone quality beautiful? Are you moving with the musical lines? You know, this is a very musical and singing type etude. Other things to consider are how you execute your slurs. On the trombones, we know that can be very challenging. Making sure we're properly playing through our slurs and also our use of natural slurs throughout this etude. And question number 2, our favorite, where is the spot where everyone is gonna mess up? So everyone, look at the music for a second. I bet you can all agree on what measure it is. It's measure 9 with the grace notes. We really need to make sure we are, I'm looking at my music here. We really need to make sure we execute these grace notes very smoothly. Like, we shouldn't get caught up in them, and it shouldn't be a moment where the auditioners are sitting on the edge of their seats waiting for you to mess up. You should just blow right through them, and they should be part of the musical phrase. So when it comes to executing grace notes, I have a few different suggestions. The way I did it in my etude was I just used a light tongue to move from the grace note to the note. As you can see, there is a slur marking from the grace note to the note, but if you use a very light tongue, it can still come off as legato. So I did use the natural positions for the first grace note, the A flat in third and the G in fourth. And then for the second one, I did the E flat in third and then the D in fourth. So I did utilize an alternate position there. So let me just show you an example of how I executed these grace notes pretty slowly so you can see. And you can see I am using a little bit of tongue there, but it's very slight to still get that slurred approach. Other options when we are playing grace notes, especially if they are slurred like they are here, are utilizing natural slurs and alternate positions. This works great on the second group of eighth notes, so the E flat to the D. So playing the E flat in third and then the D in first position and not using any tongue, using a natural slur. I really liked the way that sounds for the second grouping of eighth notes, but for the first grouping of eighth notes, that didn't really work out for me. That would make us play our A flat all the way out in seventh position and then our G in fourth. Although I like the way that sounds for the second eighth note, I don't like the way it sounds for the first eighth note. Playing an A flat out in seventh position is quite risky business, especially if you're like me and you have a shorter arm. So I chose the lesser of two evils here, and I went with using a slight tongue so I could keep the articulations the same. When you have a repeated figure like this, we have the two grace note figures back to back. I recommend that you play them both the same way to have consistency. Another thing we want to carry over, we started this in our video for Etude number 1, is we have to know our musical terms. So let's brush up on our Italian here. The first term we need to learn to perform this etude is the very first one, andante espressivo. This is our tempo marking for the piece, tempo and style. So andante means in a walking pace. So you can kind of think of the tempo that when you're walking down the street. It's not too fast, it's not too slow, just a nice gentle walk. The tempo is even marked here at quarter note equals 72 beats a minute. So that's andante. The second word is espressivo, which I bet you can just think about it and you'll know what it means. It means expressive. So we think of in a walking type pace, but expressive. So kind of think of that as you're playing through this etude. Our next musical term we find in measure 7, excuse my Italian pronunciation, is appassionato. Appassionato means perform with a great amount of emotion. So don't be afraid to really lay into these notes. Also, don't be afraid to play a little out of time here, right? Put a lot of emphasis on the notes, way into them. We don't want to slow down too much, but know that you can play with the time a little bit here to really get the emotion out of these 3 notes. Our next musical term in measure 10 is a little more familiar. You might have seen this one before, menemoso. Menemoso means less quickly. So we can slow down the tempo here just a little bit, starting to slow down towards the end. And our last musical term, 2 measures from the end, you might have seen this one before too, molto ritardando. Molto means very much, and ritardando, I'm sure you guys know that one already, it means to slow down. So molto ritardando means very much slow down or slow down a lot. So this is a very drawn out and dramatic ritardando. So don't be afraid here to really slow down at the end and really milk it all the way to the last note. Thank you so much for watching our video for Etude number 2 in the 2020 ABODA series. I hope you enjoyed the performance of the Etude and all these practice tips. Also, don't be shy, even if you're not an Arizona student preparing for these etudes. Let us know what you think about this video series and if it's still helpful to you. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel down below. Stay tuned for videos 3, 4, and 5 coming soon. Thank you. Bye.